Hey y'all, new day, new verses. Today we're digging into Matthew 5 verses 33 through 37, the teaching on vows. Let's dig in. You have heard our ancestors were told, you must not break your vows. You must carry out the vows you make to the Lord. But I say, do not make any vows. Do not say by heaven, because heaven is God's throne. And do not say by the earth, because the earth is his footstool. And do not say by Jerusalem, for Jerusalem is the city of the great king. And do not even say by my head, for you cannot turn one hair white or black. Just say a simple, yes, I will, or no, I won't. Anything beyond that is from the evil one. Now, I like this verse a lot because although it is simple, it's kind of profound in idea. That we are to just say a simple yes or no. To have our yes mean yes and our no mean no. Because I've been thinking about the idea of vows and promises. And although they are slightly different in a legal sense, in the spiritual context, they're the same. You're saying you will do something and then not. If you're not going to keep a vow you make, if you're not going to keep a promise you make, going all out and saying by this or by that or by George, I'll do it, then when you don't, you betray. And you lie and you hurt. I'll give you an example. Think back to when you were little, to the first time you were ever lied to by a parent or somebody in that position over you. Well, sometimes parents just lie. That's a cop-out. It's a behavioral cop-out. Yes, life is in the gray. Yes, we struggle with those difficulties. If we're trying to live the way we say we do as Christ followers, then have your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Because if you're going to go above and beyond anything of that, to what end? What is the purpose of it? You know, oh, well, I swear by the sun, moon, and stars that I'll do this. Why not just simply do what you say you are going to do? And if you're not going to do it, at least respect the person enough to just give them an honest and kind no, rather than dragging them along or screwing them in the end. You know, now, does that mean that we just, oh, well, then I won't make any promises at all? Cool. Just say yes or no. Let's start with that. Say what you mean. Because that would be a heck of a first step in today's society. As, the hypocrisy alone causes a lot of issues. Well, you said you were going to do it, and you didn't do it, and yeah, same issue that it causes a little problem, or a little kid, the same problems, the same heartache, the same pain, because it's the same behavior. Breaking a promise when you say you're going to do it is not just a betrayal of trust, it lets others down, it leaves a wake, it destroys those relationships in form, and at the very least, leads one more rock in to grind against, one more moment of difficulty to try and get past, to overcome. Anything yes than just a simple yes or no and doing it, you don't just lie, you betray. You cut down. If we're going to start living like we believe, then we need to start with the fact that our words have meaning. They have an effect. And when we make promises to each other, when we make promises to the Lord, when we do any of these things, when we don't keep them, when we betray, if we don't keep them, if we don't hold to keeping our word, then what's the purpose of speaking? Because if you can't be consistent in what you're going to do, how can you be consistent in what you're going to say? It all comes back to a heart issue, to a character issue, to things that fundamentally need to be shaped and changed. the heart. Because if you have to go all out above and beyond and swear on everything and everyone to say you're going to do it, was your word worth much to begin with? Pathological liars especially deal with this one. Because they have to keep going higher and higher and higher on swearing on this and swearing on that. See, I'm not lying. Well, if you stop lying, period, then when you give somebody a yes or no, they know that's what you're giving them. It's a heart issue. It all comes back to that. Consistency of character. Because if your yes doesn't mean yes and your no doesn't mean no, two of the simplest words in language, then does anything else really have any value or meaning too? I think that's the question to start with. A difficult one. And honestly, it's just going to get more difficult from here. Because the next one, revenge, loving your enemies, yeah, it's going to get tough. And it's going to require us to check certain parts of ourselves. Because if a yes doesn't mean yes and a no doesn't mean no, then how can you show compassion to anyone, let alone yourself? And even if it's one of those, I'll do it niceties, what does that accomplish? Well, it was the nice thing to do, but if all you were doing was to do it to be nice, your heart's not in it. Your character's not in it. Your purpose isn't in it. You're not going to do it in the end. Because humans don't necessarily want to do what others ask of them. We don't always. With many things, there are fights about it. But this is where we're getting into the core of it. Consistency of character. Consistency of who you are. Because you can't live a life of love if you can't even be honest. Well, sorry it's a bit of a somber note there, but it's a heavy one that I think needs to be discussed. If your yes means yes and your no means no, then awesome. And if you can be as simple and straightforward as that, that's awesome too. If you can't and you're still in the process of being worked on, then rejoice knowing that God will work on you as He works on all of us as we go. It's all about relationship with Him. And if you're somebody who deals with chronic lying or pathological liar, if you're somebody who constantly worries about these issues, then turn away from the behavior. Turn toward God and ask Him to make you consistent of character in Him. Because that's what He wants. He wants us. He wants connection. He wants relationship. He wants the same thing that humanity instinctually wants. Interconnection. Community. Usually we want it with people we like, but that's for another day. For now, let's try to have a simple yes or no, because anything else causes more issues than it needs to, and is definitely from the evil one. I will see you guys tomorrow for digging into teachings about revenge with verses 38 through 42. Should be a blast. I'll see you guys then, and may His favor be upon you. See you then.